All right, we are live. Hey, everyone, welcome to Hack Studios. I am Thibert, 35-year comic book veteran, working for mainly Marvel DC, but, helped a little upstart company called Image Comics. You might have heard of them. And with me is Vinnie. How do you say your last name, Vinnie, so I don't butcher it?
Tartamella.
Tartamella.
Yep.
So Tartamella, hey, smack you in the back of the head, hey. You talk a lot with your hands?
Of course. Well, I'm a New Yorker, so I do that regardless.
Yeah, my wife isn't even Italian, and she does it, so I don't know what's up. What's up there? She's always moving her hands all over the place. Well, yeah. So I thought we would, Vinny and I would hang out and kind of talk up our IPs. We got two terrific projects right now. So we have Through the Woods and we have Chrono Mechanics, and we are mainly going to focus on Vinny's, but we'll probably talk about Chrono a little bit as well. So looks like we got some people in the chat. That's always good. Sign of Life. We have Jess Tyler Bush. Hey ho, let's go. What's that? Dive Ninja. How are you? My good buddy Sierra Whiskey. Inside or Image Comics. Tart Melons. This is going to be a great stream already. Just remember, I didn't say Tart Melons.
No, you didn't. Sierra Whiskey did.
Yeah, so I'm good. I'm good there. So how you been, brother?
Not bad. It's been a stressful, long week, but actually went by really quick, to be honest.
Stressful, wrong. It's Tuesday, dude.
Well, I meant last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, yeah. Launching that campaign and just like running on streams nonstop, trying to get a little bit of work done in between, and very, very little sleep. Yeah. I feel like Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Oh no, that's not good. You saw how that ended.
Yeah, but I reeled it in a bit. I slept a little bit on Sunday.
You don't have a labyrinth or whatever in the backyard, do you?
No, of course not.
Yeah, you don't want to get lost in there because you'll freeze to death.
Yeah, I'm not chasing anybody with an axe yet. But my characters are in my book.
There is an axe in the book.
There certainly is.
Yeah, so yeah, the same thing. We were talking a little bit off the air that usually the mornings, the way it works out, we turn on, we go into editor mode or editorial mode, and we're busy, emailing, talking on the phone, getting things, all worked out. So you don't feel that creative, but by midday, right, you start like, okay, things are slowing down. Now I can draw, I can write.
Right. Well, it depends too. Like if there's something I really do have to get done, I might just roll out of bed, run to the drawing table, get down when I have to get down, and then then take care of the other stuff and then get back to it. So. Yeah,
I try to get rid of or get done with all the editorial stuff first, because I don't like to be interrupted through the day, but it ends up happening anyway. So
of course,
I don't know why I get crazy about it. So how many more days do you have on your campaign?
Well, it only launched last Monday. So
okay.
Yeah. This is we got plenty of time. But yeah, in the first week, I did hit 10,000 right off the bat. So
congratulations.
Thank you, brother. I'm really thrilled about that because it also it unlocked the upgrade for the book. So now everyone who backed a graphic novel tier, they're going to be getting a hardcover.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all they had to do is get you to 10K.
Yep. At 12K, I'm gonna make the size of the book bigger too. So it's gonna be 8.5 by 11 inches.
Yeah, we talked a little bit on your channel about that. That is cool. I can't wait to see what that looks like. I like slightly oversized. I like playing with format.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Oh, same here, man. Because I used to really be a big fan of like the European kind of books. Yeah, most of their stuff is like that. It's a little bit bigger, and you could really appreciate the story and the art, I think, even more.
They're more magazine size, but it's weird because comic books, like American comics, play with that format, but the page isn't formatted for a magazine size. So like the European stuff, it's a little bit more widescreen format. So it's a little bit longer, like side to side, than American comics. And I don't know, anything that's different and unusual. Like sometimes I even like to just throw an extra page or two, but not tell anybody. And so when they're reading it, they're just like, this feels different. You know, so it's 22 pages instead of 20 pages. You know what I mean? So you can pace it a little bit different.
Oh, totally, man. I really dig that. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like I have to, well, I did, I reformatted. I have two big folders. I have one that's like a classic style comic book pages. And then I have the one that's kind of like, that's slightly oversized. So I had to resize every single page in the book.
Yeah. Definitely.
But, I think it's worth it because I think just even that little bit of an increase, you know, well, it's almost 2 inches on one side, but yeah, the having it slightly bigger like that, you do catch all the extra little details that one might miss on like a first read through.
Right.
But yeah, with it a little bit bigger, I think you get to see it right in the first go.
Yeah, but also like what we're doing here is we're creating or trying to create one of a kind collectibles, you know, like unusual or unique type of books, formats, you know, foil cover, you know, all kinds of neat bells and whistles. And that's the fun part of this too is, you know, it's good for the people that back you, but it's also really cool to have that book, right?
Oh, hell yeah, man. I'm all about that. Having something great for the fans, having something awesome on the shelf for myself. Yeah, because you know how it is. You've worked for all these different companies as well. There's nothing, you know, more sweet than having your creator-owned project in your hands.
Oh yeah, I remember when Black and White was shipped. You know, when we got the pallet of books coming in from the truck here,
right?
And I just couldn't stop smiling. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was like, yeah, they're here. It was like Christmas time. It was amazing.
Yeah, dude, totally. Especially if it prints the way that you really wanted to as well. Oh my God, yeah. Doing cards.
Yeah, Black and White printed up amazing. I'm so proud of that book. It came out so good. It was a headache to get made, but I think the ends justified it. It looks great. You know, the printing and everything was really, really amazing.
You don't know how badly I want that one, but
oh, you want to? Oh, that's right. You want a Black and White book?
Yeah, I do.
We'll get you one, man. We'll send you one.
Sweet.
One way or another, Vinnie will get one. Oh, and back Chrono as well.
Of course, I did.
Thank you, thank you. What we should do is give a brief history of you know, of you and let people know who you are and you know, how cool you are. So I do know that you have this cool past with Todd McFarlane, and that's one of the things I really wanted, because we weren't able to do that on your show. We didn't get into, you know, that much detail.
Yeah.
But I do want to get into detail on that. So why don't you give a brief history, you know, backstory on yourself?
Yeah, well, I am a self-taught artist. Like right out of high school, I sent in some like portfolio pieces over to Todd. Because I saw in the back of one of the magazines, he was looking for artists for his companies, but I didn't know exactly what the job was going to be. And I went up for an interview and pretty much stayed there. It's like, yeah, it's the toy studio in Jersey. So I worked for Todd for a little bit. I ended up becoming the lead designer to his design studio there. I worked on a number of figures from, you know, his stuff from like Spawn related things to like, you know, big IPs from video games, people in the music industry, just like a lot of different stuff. Then I ended up freelancing. I did design work for Diamond Select, Randy Bowen. So a lot of like toy and statue work. And then I started getting back into comics. So yeah, I was doing covers for a number of different places and book companies. But yeah, I did stuff for Image as well. I did Hack and Slash, a couple covers for Tim Seeley.
Okay.
I did about, I want to say, 3 years worth of covers for Blue Water Comics. And those pieces, they were around the time that Obama was getting into office. So it was like all that political hype. I got on a bunch of different media things from interviews on CNN to MSNBC. You know, I had Larry King holding up my work on air. That was pretty cool. But
who was Blue Water? Because that sounds really familiar.
They did a lot of these kind of like bio books and different stuff like that. I
But
don't
I
know
mean,
if
he's the guy because he had IPs like creator-owned books as well, right?
yeah, he had the 10th Muse, I think, was his big.
That's yes. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of notorious for not paying their artists, but they were paying me because my work was getting them all over the place.
Yeah, they needed you.
Yeah, because when he came to me, I'm like, yeah, I don't work for free, pal. And yeah, so I had a lot of their artists and writers hit me up in emails and stuff like, did you get paid? I'm like, yeah, otherwise I wouldn't work. If you got a problem with him, take it up with him.
Yeah, I'll tell you something because I had a similar situation, but it was with convention promoters. And what some of these promoters do in these hotels is they'll ask for your credit card, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes these people that throw these conventions aren't reputable. And so they'll stiff the check on the hotel, like if they're supposed to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so if they have the creator's credit card, they'll just bill you for that. And I did a convention in Smallville. I can't remember where it was, but somewhere in Middle America. And so everybody's calling me that was at the show. Did you get popped for the hotel bill? And I said, no. And they said, how did you get around that? I said, I didn't give them my credit card. And they said, but they asked for it. I said, you don't have to give them the credit card. Just tell them, that it's, on the promoter. And they should already know that. And they should have all that information already. So I said, that's what I always do just in case. And they said, that's what I want to do from now on.
Yeah. Some people get kind of sneaky. I've noticed that.
Yeah. I think they mean well, but sometimes they get in over their head, like small publishers and some of these smaller promoters, for conventions and things. So I know shit happens, but I still don't want to be I still don't want to be stuck with the bill.
Of course not, man. Because we're taking time to do these things, and it's not that we're always going to be making a bunch of money. It's mostly like to reach out to the fans and stuff too, show them what's going on, have that connection, sign a bunch of stuff for people. But yeah, if you're losing money or they're shaking you down from the hotel, yeah, that gets brutal.
Yeah.
But
so you're doing all the covers. You worked with it was Blue Water. Is that what the
I don't even think they exist anymore. I think the guy keeps filing for Chapter 11, and then he pops up with another company name. I don't know. I saw every now and then. He would pop up in messages with some stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not I'm not working for you right now. Certain people that are too slimy or things pop up. Yeah, I'll avoid them. I rather deal with real people and cooler projects, because I'll be honest, I did not enjoy those covers I was working on. There's only a handful that I really dug. I did like a cover to the Beatles. I did a piece for Princess Diana. Some of that stuff is kind of cool, but yeah, the political stuff, I not my cup of tea.
You do good likenesses though, so do you like to do that, or is that like a drag?
Oh no, I enjoy it. No, I've done stuff for all different companies as well, not just in comics. So like I've done portrait work. Like I don't know if anyone saw like my Muhammad Ali or my Abraham Lincoln. They were all for different jobs. But I've also done like storyboard work as well. Some independent films. I helped out with stuff like that. I'm kind of all over the map, but my heart is in comics. So like I always wanted to get back to it. I was supposed to draw Amazing Spider-Man at one point. 2 weeks before I signed the contract, Quesada stepped in, put his friend on the book instead. So I kept getting the shit under the stick when it comes to this business. And then seeing how they operate also turns the stomach. When I was working with Todd, like hearing some of his venting about the industry as well, and that's why he pretty much made his own companies. He didn't want to deal with them either. He's got his own IP. He wanted to keep making his brand something special, and you got to respect that kind of thing. And that's where I'm headed. I want to do the same. I want to just keep creating and growing my company, my projects. A lot of people seen just a ton of work I've already put out. So I'm definitely gung-ho in this.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And it is a lot of work. But it's kind of less stressful in a way because you're not dealing with the uncertainties. I mean, there are some uncertainties, but it's a little bit more in your control. So
Right.
I'm one of those guys. I don't mind like rolling up my sleeves and working a little bit harder if I have to. What I don't like is those intangibles, those like, those things that you can't control. And that you can be, a victim at somebody's will. Somebody can decide tomorrow that they're not going to work with you, or, a company could fire you or whatever. And I don't like those uncertainties. I've worked that way for a long, long time. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. I want to give this my best shot and, make it work. And kind of be your own boss. We've always been our own boss of sorts, but I mean, really, the buck stops with you, 100%.
Yeah, it really does. Cause yeah, I'm the one who does all the artwork, top to bottom. I'm dealing with the printer, packaging. I mean, yeah, you get people to help. I did too a little bit, but for the most part, I kind of rather handle it myself too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's why my wife and I do it, because whenever there's a problem, we deal with it, immediately. As Andrew J says about you, best customer service I've ever experienced. So that is a cool endorsement, man.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I'm trying to give the same experience. Like if people see me at a convention and they know how personable I am, friendly, willing to chat, I want to give them the same thing when it comes to even the interactions we have online. If there's a customer who's backing me, if they have some questions or a problem, I do my best to address it and to keep that that courtesy, that respect, because without them, we can't do what we're doing.
Yeah, and every individual is important because we're building this one fan at a time, one person at a time. So it's not in our interest to screw anybody or to get somebody mad at us, because that one person is very important. Because have you ever? I know you've experienced this. So like in your campaign, there's like the midway point, and sometimes you'll lose a backer, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you start questioning, like, what did I do? Did I say something on a live stream? Does somebody hate me? You take it personally because you work so hard just to get even that one person,
Yeah, it's a little unavoidable, but I think after I'm on my 5th campaign. So now when I see it, it just irks me a little bit, and then I get over it.
Yeah, I do too, and I've been really, really lucky because I've heard some people, they lose a lot of backers, but with I've done 2 Kickstarters and 2 Indiegogos. I'm in the in the middle of my second, or my second Indiegogo, so my 4th, and yeah, very, very few returns, and I've been very, very fortunate because I've heard some major, stories about people losing a lot of significant amount of backers.
Right. Yeah. Well, what some of that infighting stuff, or because I know the only time I was losing, some here and there was when a lot of the stuff was going down between, certain people who were referred to as meth heads and whatnot. I think it's the transition, and then when people actually see how bad certain individuals are or how phony they are, then it changes back too, right? So
yeah.
You might have a couple of refunds, but then you might have just a whole slew of new backers, right? Depending on whose streams you go on, who's pushing you. But yeah, for the most part, staying out of all the nonsense. I haven't really seen many refunds, to be honest.
But also, you can't take it personally, because if you think of it this way, and you had a retail outlet, right, a store, people take things back all the time.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like they take things back, they exchange things. It's just kind of part of commerce. It's kind of part of the selling ritual, I guess. Not ritual, but you know what I mean. Like that's how it goes. People sometimes they're not happy with the product and they want to take it back, or they ask questions about the product and then you have to answer the questions and so on and so forth.
Yeah, or money's tight, right? You know, if there's an emergency that happens and people, you know, they might have to refund it and hopefully try to back it again later. But I mean, yeah, you got to be very respectful for that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta find. There's so many questions I want to ask you. So really, the McFarlane thing, you just kind of showed them a portfolio, and then that was like, come work for us. Is that?
Well, yeah, sort of. I mean, it kind of was like that. They were looking for new people for their studio. So yeah, it was me and my brother who's also a sculptor. Not the one who wrote Through the Woods. It was a different brother. We went up together. It's kind of interesting. We did something that we never really normally, we haven't really seen this before. We filmed the artwork and sent the tape out instead of just sending an actual portfolio. It was something different, right? Because like if you got that, you're like, what the hell is this? You know, they popped it in their player and they're like, oh my God, wow, this is great. You know, and then they reached out and they said, yeah, could you come up for an interview? I'm like, yeah, totally.
Cool. Did you start right as like lead designer, or did you work your way up?
I'll say one thing. It was very quick. It was kind of unofficial at one point, and then they were just, pretty much made it official. So the thing is, when I came in, like they tried me out on a couple of designs. So like some of the first stuff I designed were McFarlane Monsters. Not the very first series, because the very first series were kind of like baby toys that were smaller, but when they were really putting the detail in, so they were like the 6 and 7 inch line. And I got to do a design of Frankenstein, Dracula, and a sea creature. And with the stuff I was showing them, they were very impressed. I mean, there was literally like, here's a table, here's some paper, go for it. And I'm like, all right, well, are there any parameters like that I need to be in? No, just don't go too gory if you want to go gory, but yeah, they're going to be scary. Just don't do movie versions. Kind of do your own. And
were you doing one-offs, or were you doing like turnarounds?
They were one-offs until they were getting to like when they got approved. Then I did just a couple of turnarounds, like whatever like the sculptors needed. Yeah, nothing was really set in stone with that. But
early on, like I did some like inks over Todd's pencils, and they were used for the package designs and stuff. So I did a little bit, not much for Todd Toys, and then Greg Capullo, I was pretty tight with him at the time. Did he come in the office a lot? Was he? Because I know he did some design work, didn't he?
It's kind of funny. It's after I left, Capullo was my replacement.
Ah, that's funny.
We did catch up at a convention, Capullo and I. So it's funny because before I even got into working for Todd, I used to send Capullo some art here and there because I became friends with someone he was good friends with, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he lives right down the street from me." So I said, "Oh, if you get a chance," I sent him some things, and they said, "Yeah, he's a Capullo. Love what you did, man." I'm like, "Oh, nice." So when I finally did get a chance to talk to him, he's like, "Vinnie Tartamella." He goes, "I know your name better than most people. I just had no idea what you look like."
Was that person Kevin Conrad?
No. It was this Lawrence brother. No, I'm sorry. It was a nephew and an uncle. And I think the uncle used to do photography for Wizard magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't even remember how I became friends with the kid. But we were like a similar age anyway.
Yeah. You had that artwork that you did?
Well, that I gave to Greg.
What was that?
The stuff that I gave to Greg?
No, like, do you have any of the like toy designs?
Oh, toy design. Yeah, and in the garage, I know I have a bunch of stuff.
Oh man,
I've got a box full of drawings and things.
Do you want to take a slight detour? I got some Greg Capullo layouts here that he gave me. You want to see them?
Oh yeah, man, I'd love to.
Let me see. Does people in the chat want to see? Let me know. You want to see Greg Capullo layouts?
He's a great guy. I mean, I love him and his wife, Jamie.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah, I go, wait, I'm doing something wrong here. I don't want to do that.
I did make that crack, though, to him. I said, oh, so you were my replacement when I left. And he was like, yeah, I was. he did, I think, like 2 or 3 series for him.
I think I've known him because Jamie is his new wife, right? Because I think he got married again. Wasn't Michelle or something his first wife?
Yeah, she had a lot of like bad migraines and stuff.
Yeah.
I think she had some health issues here and there, but yeah, no, Jamie, he actually knew Jamie since he was a kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they separated, like, you know, they lost touch, and then kind of when he was starting to get back into comics, like a little bit before that, is when he ran into her again, and they hit it off, and yeah, the rest is history.
So these aren't Xeroxes, you guys. These are the actual layouts. I think this is Spawn 12 or 13. So this is the issue I did with him. So he penciled it and I inked it.
Oh, was that the Redeemer?
I think it is the Redeemer. Yeah, the guy with the spikes, kind of the spike mohawk on his head.
Yeah. I get to design some figures with him as well.
There he is. There's his head.
That's some cool stuff.
Yeah, I have a couple John Buscema layouts, and they look a lot like this, man. Like Greg is classic, like comic layouts.
I love John's stuff. He's one of my favorites as well.
Look at this stuff. This is crazy.
Killer. Hell yeah, man. Dude, and it's all already there, right? Like you could just see it.
Well, I could probably tighten this stuff up and ink right from this, to be honest.
Well, yeah, you definitely have the skill for it.
Dude. Yeah, and these, you know, like sometimes you get like layouts and you're like, oh, you know, when they do the final pencils, they really deviate from the layouts. These do not. Like he's pretty, you know, when he puts these layouts down, that's exactly what he's going to do as the finishes.
Yeah, so man.
Around.
Yeah, that's the one thing I always loved about Capullo's stuff, and you know, I used to study it a lot in my early years for sure. He's definitely one of my comic book heroes, because it's also, like you said, he's got that John Buscema kind of approach in his layouts and his work.
Yeah, this was a cover. I don't know what these
cable.
I don't know what these guys were. I think they were like something like Paint and Ink. I think they were like 2 characters, like cocked and loaded. You know, it was like one of those types of like
really obscure ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did a lot of X-Force stuff before I think he worked for Todd.
Oh yeah, he did X-Force, and I think he did Quasar before that, right?
Yeah, Quasar.
Yeah, he had like a Johnny like Romita kind of like senior style. Like that's what kind of the style. Like it looked like old school Marvel, like Buscema and Romita kind of look. And
funny, it's very funny that you say that, because when we were talking, I said like one of my first meetings that I had at the Marvel offices was because of John Romita Jr. And then he goes, "No shit." I said, "What?" He goes, you know, not only that he knows him and he's friends with him, but he goes, John Romita Sr., he goes, got me my first interviews at Marvel. I said, "Are you kidding?" He's like, "No." And he was working with Larry Hama.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. I'm sorry. I just read in the chat they were saying it's too small, so I'm gonna show these again, bigger.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah. Damn. Sorry about that, you guys.
That is some cool stuff.
I think what they see is different sometimes. Yeah, look at the power. That's crazy. Look at all the shells.
His approach almost to me always felt like an animator. Like he did the extremes, but they were very, very clear, like what he was doing. You know?
Yeah. And there's musculature. There's detail in there as well. You know, the proportions there, the musculature is there. It's you know, sometimes it's just hinted, but it's all there. It's pretty crazy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then this is the Spawn stuff here.
Yeah, just the action and the motion that he has is so damn good. Because he even did layouts when he was starting to come back. He was doing layouts for Haunt. I don't know if you remember that title.
No, I don't.
Before he started working for DC, it was the Robert Kirkman comic book that he ran into Todd at a convention, and he goes, "If you get back into comics," he goes, I'll write a story if you're willing to work on it." And they said, yeah, and they teamed up together. But Capullo started doing layouts for Ryan Ottley, and then Ryan Ottley, he just had too much work to do on Invincible, so Capullo took over. I think almost like a year's run on that book, and Todd was doing the inks on it.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah,
it was a crazy little story, but I was digging it. It had like a little bit of like a Venom feel to it. So it was like an army, this army guy who died, and his spirit went to his brother. Like he wanted to save his brother because I think whatever bad people were coming after him as well. And he ends up saving his brother. But when he does, he goes to like push him out of the way, and he becomes like almost like a suit on top of his brother, sort of like Spawn or Venom, you know, like
dude.
Yeah, he kind of did like a version of Spider-Man, it felt like, but kind of like a spooky version. But it was interesting. I mean, I think you would have kind of dug it.
Oh, just to answer, was it who said it? Oh, is this Capullo Spawn? Yeah, this is Spawn pages. These are layouts from Greg Capullo. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Did I show this one? No. Yeah.
See,
so this is Spawn. I think this is either 12 or 13 issue. No. I think they were 16 and 17.
Yeah, that sounds more accurate.
Yeah, because Todd finished up the first year, I think.
Yeah, and then Greg came in. And I'll be honest too. I think when Greg came in, I think the level of that book shot up dramatically because just I think his anatomy and his structure was a lot better than Todd's. Like I always gravitated towards Capullo when it came to the two of them. Like I love them both, but I think Capullo kind of had just the edge.
Yeah, I hung out with him quite a bit. He used to help me draw, and this is his old signature. I told him, you know what that reminds me of? Because I gritted it up a little bit. I said it's CoverGirl, but it's opposite. It's it's GC instead of CG. And then all of a sudden, because we used to talk hours and hours on the phone, and he goes, I was talking to Todd, and Todd has this belief that you shouldn't use your initials. You should spell your name. That's like the key to success. Spell your name out. It's better branding. And so that's when he started spelling his name out completely.
That's funny. He did come up with a good one. I like his current one.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
You know what's funny too? I got to see his first pencils from Batman before they got printed.
Really?
Yeah, because when we did hit it off at a couple of shows and hanging out, and he's like, Vinny, I don't know what to do. I said, what do you mean? He goes, Marvel and DC are both hit me up, and he goes, I said, wow, do you have like free pick of what you want to do? He goes, with DC, he goes, they want to put me on Batman, like, and I really want to do it, but I don't want to be in Todd's shadow either, because it was right away they're going to compare. And I went, well, Todd didn't really do that much work on DC. He did a couple of covers or 1 or 2 issues. He didn't do a ton. I said, I don't think anybody would really do that. And I said, what about Marvel? He goes, they want to put me on a team book again. And he goes, I don't want to be on a team book. So I said, dude.
A lot of work, yeah.
Yeah. I went, dude, then take Batman. I said, it's perfect. I said, Gotham City, Greg Capullo. It's right there. It's spelled out for you.
It's a no-brainer. You know what? That's everybody. That's you. That's most people's dream job. Working on Batman. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
My father used to know Bob Kane.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob Kane was kind of a dick.
Yeah, he kind of is. But or he was rather. Yeah, my father used to cut his hair in New York. He goes, yeah. When my dad came from Italy, he started working at this place in the city, and they used to have this customer who came in all the time, and he would give them like little doodles here and there, or like Christmas cards and stuff like that. and he used to try to tell him, he goes, yeah, I got this comic book character, you know, we're working on this TV series. He's like, I'm going to be going out to California soon. You know, he was like talking up with my father. And
so this was the 60s then, right? Like,
yeah. For sure. Which was like, you know, mind blowing. Because then like when Batman '89 started happening, and because my father wasn't really paying attention to any of that stuff, right? So when he started seeing him everywhere, he goes, that's my customer. That's Bob. And I'm like, what? You know him? You know, and that's when it was like all coming out back then.
That's awesome, man.
It's funny too, because like Alfred was named after the guy who owned the barber shop.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Dude, you have cooler stories than I do.
Dude.
That is so cool, man. That's like old school like superhero comics, you know?
Yeah. Trust me, my father is it's one of those things. It's like he was trying to even give him like stock tips back then, but my father was still like a kid, right? He didn't know shit about that, you know. And looking back, it's like, are you kidding me? He doesn't have any of the drawings. He threw everything out, you know. It's because, you know, coming from Italy like that, like, you know, even comics, they weren't a collector's thing.
Yeah.
You know, you back then, if you did get them, you'd roll them up, put them in your back pocket, do other stuff, you know, throw them out after a while. You know, not a ton of people hung on to them. That's why like those books are so expensive now. Because you find them in good condition, it's like, oh my God, someone really valued this and treated it well.
Well, comics were just disposable entertainment. They weren't really collectible. Right. Kids weren't, you know, they collected them in the sense that they had a bunch of them and they would read them, but not like that they thought that they would be worth anything.
Exactly.
Wait, this is funny. RT Bear, is this before or after you headhunted Greg to DC? Supposedly, that's what I used to do for DC. Is I would steal talent from Marvel and other companies and bring them over to DC. Yeah, I was on the payroll there. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Well, that's cool. So then, just to kind of catch up. And get back into like the origin story of Vinnie. Then you just kind of was there an epiphany moment where you just said, I'm going to start doing indie books because I'm fed up, or, you know, or was it just kind of a natural progression just to start, you know, doing Comicsgate books and publishing?
I've always been, you know, creating my own stuff on the side throughout, you know, my freelancing work. Like I always started developing stuff. My brothers too. Like we'd bounce ideas off of one another. Like Through the Woods, that particular project, we came up with it. I want to say maybe when I just graduated high school, somewhere around that time. And it was seriously just the characters that popped into mind first, right? And my brother and I were just like bouncing ideas back and forth with one another. You know, like, there's something cool here. Like he wasn't sure what yet. So after a few years went by and, you know, I started doing some freelance work every now and then. I sat down and I went, you know what? I want to take one of these cool projects that we have and do something with it. So I sat down and I wrote the first draft of Through the Woods. I said, how about just doing like a really cool ghost story, you know, just out of nowhere, a little bit more like the kind of old school kind of pulp comics. And, you know, they were like horror and different things like that. Because like I do like superhero stuff, and I've drawn plenty of that stuff for, you know, private commissions, prints, all that other nonsense. But I always like that kind of old school storytelling, because if you could tell a really good story with characters that aren't wearing spandex, that aren't really super flashy in your face, I think you have something special, right? If you could take someone like normal looking and have like a good story centered around them.
Yeah, because ghost stories are kind of they're just a lot of times they're just murder mysteries, you know, but they involve the supernatural instead of a detective, you know, because you always like, why am I being haunted? Who is haunting me? You know, like there's all those questions, like, you know, if you were a detective, you know, or a reporter that you have to look into. So I always like that too, because there's always the unknown, you know, you don't know who this person is or why they're haunting you and all that kind of stuff.
And like the approach with this one was like, to really get into like the backstories. So, like the main character, Laura Langley. The thing is, like, she's kind of who you follow throughout the story, but she's not necessarily the main character. It's a little bit of like an ensemble, but kind of leaning more towards the big guy, that Jack Lombardo guy, because like you want to know what happens to him, because the way we set it up is, you know, he is a manly man, but he's also a damn good man, right? The way that I approached it.
Wait. So he's not the ghost?
Well, again, what I was going to say is, yeah, the story, we're going to have flashbacks to 100 years in the past, because the land that she inherits in present day, she finds out that it was a loggers camp, and there's a horrible event that happened, a couple of horrible things. So I end up doing these flashbacks where most of my start in sepia, to really get like that kind of old school feel to it, almost like you're watching an old movie. But that's how I kind of like reintroduce the characters and, you know, who this guy Jack is and that kind of thing. But there's a really cool part in the story where when I do this, there's one specific flashback where it starts in sepia, but it's a very pivotal part to the book. So as you keep turning the pages, like I added a little bit more color in each page until it is like, you know, full color, like in a present day shot. So it feels like as the viewer is reading it, they're really getting pulled into that moment, right? Like, yeah, cool. I've seen it done in comics before, so I wanted it to really experiment, and I wouldn't be able to do that in a mainstream book or somewhere else. You know, I'm sure editors would be like, "No, you can't do that. It's too confusing. Do this or do that." You know, but I was able to do what I wanted with this, and the people who did get the first run on this, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So, yeah, I'm very proud of this project as a whole, but sorry, I kind of veered off a bit. But yeah, so there's going to be flashbacks, and by the end of like that first book or the first part of it, you're going to see how the past and the present came together. Cool. And then, yeah, there is something else going on in present day. So yeah, there is still a mystery happening in this.
So the girl with the lantern, is that the investigative journalist?
Yeah, that's Laura Langley.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it kind of like it starts off with her, and you know we're following her journey kind of, and what she's learning. Issue 2, like she's doing a lot of research on the kind of paranormal and that kind of stuff, and that was my moment to throw a little bit of cheesecake in the book as well.
A little cheesecake. Well.
It's fun stuff, right?
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I love it. Yeah. So you have you said you just within the last couple of days got the 10 grand?
Yeah, last night. Yeah, last night. Which is awesome. Yeah, we had just crossed it, so this book got upgraded to hardcover. And
you backers, and this is still early campaign, so you still have 21 days left. Yep. That's awesome.
And I think I will be hitting the button to ask for like another 30, I think. I got to see where I'm at, but I do want to start adding some other stretch goals as well after we hit the 12, because at 12K is when I'm going to make the book bigger as well.
Okay, so let me go to your stretch goals. Stop me if you see them, and then we'll go into the rest.
And that was a Kelsey Shannon piece that you skimmed past as well.
Yeah, we'll go back. I just want to see. Stretch goals will be locked in. Okay, so 10 is the hardcover, so you got that. At 12, the size of the book, which you talked about, will be 8.5 by 11 inches. So that's pretty damn cool. Hardback, oversized. Sweet.
Yep, I have like a cover and pinup gallery. I have a layout gallery in there. So yeah, there's going to be a lot for people to enjoy.
You said you were thinking of the next stretch goal as adding more pages, right?
Well, there is going to be 2 pages added now, regardless, because we hit the 10K.
Right.
So yeah, so it's going to have a much nicer presentation, for sure. And yeah, again, this is almost 100 pages of artwork and story. So I don't think anyone could go wrong with this. And, you know, at the starting price of $35, now you're guaranteed a hardcover. Who would miss that?
Yeah, it's a great price, and it's a lot of content. So let's look at some of the interiors. Okay.
Oh, before I forget too, because I was getting into the story. After I did the first draft, this was going to be a straight up horror book. Like a lot of blood and guts would happen near the end of the book, but I passed along to my brother. I said, "What do you think? These are the characters that we were kind of developing a while back. What do you think of this story?" He's like, "Dude, I really love it." He goes, "But what if we do this?" And he goes, "What if we do just more of like a ghost story, more suspense, rather than straight up, you know, in the first book having like that much blood and things like that?" I said, "You know what? You're right. That way we would branch out to like a bigger audience, because like then that means even kids could pick it up if it's just, you know, mostly suspense and spookiness. There is violent moments in here for sure, and especially by the third book, I did put a little bit of gore back into it, but you know, nothing worse than like a Spawn issue, right? So like, you know, there's sometimes you see like something really violent happen or some blood got splashed on a page, you know, that kind of thing. It's like PG-13, I would say.
Yeah, but I mean, most of these, you know, ghost type stories, there's something traumatic that happened, and usually it's pretty violent. So I think even with ghost stories, there's an act of, you know, unspeakable violence, and that's usually right. That's why they're haunted or why something's going on, because it was so traumatic, you know, that they couldn't move on or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, something like that does happen, and yeah, Laura kind of accidentally reawakens one of the restless spirits.
Okay.
That also happens in the first issue or the first part of the book. But yeah, like I said, this is contained. It is completed, so you get the whole story in one shot. Some people who did get it, they asked, "Will there be a sequel?" And we were kicking around a really cool concept, and my brother wrote up something pretty wicked. So yeah, as long as this does really well still, yeah, there could be a sequel in the works.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the main character here, the journalist.
And that's the level of detail I put into the sketches. So if someone does back that $200 tier, where they get the signed graphic novel and they want a sketch, I'm going to be putting the sketch now on the inside of the hardcover, and you know, it should be something close to this, like that level of detail. It'll be one of the random characters from the book.
So it won't always be the same character. It'll be like whoever you want to draw at that moment. That's
right.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is the cover here, the main cover?
That's the brand new cover I did this year for it.
Sweet.
Yeah. And that's why I have like I have the one original artwork here, and it's the pencils and inks of this piece. And that's why it's so high as well. It's because it is the only original artwork I am selling from this campaign. I have other stuff I've been working on, because I've currently been working on a pirate story as well. I'm going to have a lot more pages of that available. So when like that campaign's ready to launch, I'll have like, you know, slightly cheaper options if people want original pages. So.
Very
yeah.
cool.
Thanks, man.
There's the money shot. That's the one that makes the rounds.
Yeah, controversial butt shot.
She's like, what? She's all innocent.
She's also my banner at convention, so a lot of people have taken photos with her.
I like the shot of you for your icon, you know, your YouTube icon, because you can just see her butt behind your head.
Oh, yeah.
On the banner. Yeah.
That's right.
I love how you play with this lighting through the trees and stuff. It's pretty amazing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Like, yeah, if somebody was going to draw like forest and stuff like that and color it, it's like you look so suited for this, man. Little fireflies around. This looks really cool, man.
Yeah, because I'm a stickler. I love that kind of cinematic approach to comic books in general. I mean, to have like the most dramatic shots, or even if it's a still shot that's like a calming thing, you want, you know, at least the colors. You want something that's going to really pop and draw the viewer in. So that's where I put a little bit of that kind of realism I'm kind of known for as well. That's where I drop it into certain elements.
Yeah, you have that what's it called, atmospheric perspective, where things that are going back are more diffused. So you have like this really nice background, midground, foreground thing happening here. It's a lot of depth, man.
Yeah, almost like a Disney approach, like when they used to do the old movies.
Planes, yeah.
Yeah, I always dug that.
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah. It's great for composition. Like even in that shot, he's walking out of the cabin, but you know, you see the silhouettes of the trees and then the shadowing. You know, there's depth in all of that, and then you see her back there with the lantern. Yeah, I think it's something that more people should study and think about. Right? It's how light affects an object or a person. Everything should have some kind of like three-dimensional stuff happening to it. How like light bounces or reflects off of things.
Yeah, and you definitely capture it here. And there's like this translucent effect that you have on like the skin and things like that. So it looks very realistic.
Thanks, man.
It's nice. So this is the cover you were talking about. This is the Kelsey Shannon, right?
Yeah, well, it's not a cover. A lot of people think it's a cover. It's not a cover. This is going to be in the gallery section of the book. Ethan keeps pushing for it to be the main cover. This was what he was the winner of the drawing competition on War Campaign, and he didn't know it was going to be in the book at all. I sprung it on them at the last minute. I said because he goes, yeah, I'm going to finish this up for you because he won it. And I'm like, dude, I really like it. So he sent it over, and I said, are you cool if I put this in the book? He's like, oh my god, you want to put it in the book? I'm like, yeah. So yeah, it's going to be in there. I thought it was just like a cool bonus piece. But Ethan goes, yeah, you have a Kelsey Shannon piece. Make it a cover. Make it a cover. He kept saying it. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm thinking about if I hit a big stretch goal, I might do a short run. But the stretch goal is going to have to be around like 25 to 30K because to do a hardcover book and variant cover, you know how expensive that gets.
Yeah. You know what you could do is do it as an add-on like poster or print, you know, like as like you can unlock that as a stretch goal or something like that.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm sorry.
yeah, and then just, you know, maybe, I don't know, the only problem is if you have to use tubes and stuff, it can be, you know, costly to ship, but you know, maybe you could do it as an add-on where they pay like an extra $20 or something like that, and they can get that added on to their orders.
Yeah, see, I was playing around with that idea, and Adam Post said too. Because yeah, have you thought about doing trading cards? I went, oh, that would actually be really good. You know, because I have a pretty good number of images I could make into those, and this could be a perfect one as well.
Yeah.
Or like you said too, like even like a decent sized print. Because I did one for City of Venus. It's like I think 6 by, what is it? I can't think of the size off the top of my head, but I slip it into every book that goes out. You know.
So it's kind of comic book size.
It's a little bit smaller than a comic book size. Like it fits in. It's I guess like an ash can size.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if I do something like that, that might be kind of cool as a stretch goal.
Yeah, we do mini prints, and they're about the size of a comic book cover. But the mini prints are cool because they don't have all the text and the logos on them and stuff like that. So pretty cool. Yeah, that's nice. More interior. Is this the sepia tone stuff you were talking about?
Yeah, some of it. Yeah, there's certain parts in the book where it's just to kind of sequence or show important moments in the story. But yeah, there's one pivotal one where I really go into it.
So the color is like the present day, the first panel, and then it kind of starts going into sepia tones.
I segue from that box that's sitting there.
Yeah. Very cool.
I try to do a little bit like the old school movies, how they used to do stuff like that, right? You get a really good segue into the past.
Wait a minute, does this guy get hit by lightning?
Yeah, the other one does.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and the big guy Jack caught him.
Wow, that dude's a stud, man. Oh, he caught that dude.
People who got this in the first run, they went, I had like 2 or 3 of them say, dude, he is the manliest man in comics.
Yeah. To catch a full-grown man by the waist. That's pretty badass. He looked like he could do it too, man. That's key, right? Is you got to draw these guys like they can actually do it, and then you buy into the figure. Yeah, that's awesome. So now we're back to color. She's not happy.
So these are kind of like, these are all different moments in the story in the book itself. So,
also, like, you don't want to give away too much like story, right?
I don't want to go completely into every little bit. Although these next 2 pages you see, they are back to back.
Okay. Wait a minute. I'm starting to get some story here. I always, whenever I see images, I always write my own story, but I don't want to say them because I might be like right. So I don't want to say it out loud because then you go, yeah, and then you'll spoil it.
You can tell me when we're off air.
Okay, I will. I'm trying to figure out the mystery already. I'm sucked in.
So yeah, like that page, when I went from color, like she's pushing into this cabin, but as she's pushing in, like I want to push into the past. So. Into
the past, yeah, it's pretty cool. I dig it. Uh-oh, it's not good. Well, very cool, man. So let's talk about some of the tiers you got here. Yeah. So we have wait, you don't have a what do you call those, like special perks? Those
oh, the featured
perk, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a limited amount of tiers. Like I didn't really think it was that necessary. Okay. Yeah, so it's like for $35 you get the graphic novel itself, you know, the hardcover. Self-explanatory. The next tier is you get signed by both my brother and myself, so the writer and the artist, for $40, and then for $200 you get a beautiful sketch along with the signed graphic novel, and the final tier is you know, it's that one-off for the original artwork, for the brand new cover.
Man, I think I'd go for that $200 head sketch one. Look at that drawing, you guys. That's not just you know, a little line art like a convention drawing. That's a lot of detail there, man.
I did the same thing with City of Venus. I think I had about 35 of them went out, something like that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So you're still early on the campaign, so you'll probably have at least 30 when it's all said and done. Wow, this is just gorgeous stuff, my friend. So it's going really, really strong. You guys come by, check it out, and still 21 days, but don't let that slow you down.
Yeah, definitely want to hit that next stretch goal. That way the book becomes bigger, and yeah, you have something really, really special in your hands. So you'll see every little detail because you're going to want to look in the background of stuff. You want to pick up all of what's happening in each panel, and yeah, being slightly larger, you have that.
Yeah, you'll be able to see it clear as day. I can't wait to see what the book looks like. It might inspire me to do something like it because I do like those more coffee table size books, the European kind of format.
Yeah, for sure. I should be getting my proof copy tomorrow, I think. So yeah, I'm on pins and needles. I can't wait. I want to see how that looks because this is the first time I'm even doing hardcover. So I just said, you know what? I'll get it hardcover with the oversized just to see what it is, just to see how it is.
Yeah, I have to figure out what the next stretch goal for Chrono is, because I do want to. I really want to do some kind of embossment, you know, foil emboss. Because I have this idea that there be like I kind of have this like precious metal idea, like precious metal collection or something to do with metals, you know, because it's Chrono mechanics. So like maybe a gold or silver like piping around the perimeter, but kind of inside from like about an inch from the edge of the cover, and then in the lower right hand corner. Do a cog, but like a half of a cog, in the corner. And then my wife and I, who's my co-writer, we can sign our names inside that like little silver or gold cog. So I thought that would be cool, because it's always weird when you have to sign so many of these. You're like, where do I sign it? You know?
Oh, totally. I had that issue with a couple of books, because of the floppies on that. I was like, where am I going to sign? You sign in the best spot. What's left for me?
Yeah, especially when you have like other people, you know, you have to sign with. So with black and white, I put all our names down on the bottom of the cover, so then we could sign it just above our names, you know, across the, you know, so it looks more organized than, like, you ever see these convention books and there's like signatures all over the book?
Well, some people, like, they really want to make their signature like gigantic, and it's like, why would you do that?
That's what I do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Like half the cover?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, man.
I don't always do it, but sometimes.
Funny.
Yeah. You will notice me, right?
Just being obnoxious.
You know, if it's worth saying, it's worth saying very loud.
I guess, yeah. But you have a short name. I got a really long name.
Well, if I spell my name out, you know, it could be pretty long. But the thing is, I learned the hard way. I was doing a home shopping network thing, and it was for cable number 1. And there was like 10,000 books or some crazy amount of books that needed to be signed. And so I went to New Jersey, because I think it was Dynamite or Dynamic Forces. And so it was going to take 2 days. And so I'm writing Art Thibert, and it's taken forever. And so finally, Nick Barucci's like, you can't do this, man. This is going to take, you know, too long. You got to do something else. So I kind of just came up with this abbreviated, like, I had this AT where I signed my name, you know, like just with the initials. So I just did an A and a T, like the way I used to sign my name on the cover, and then kind of just scribble in the Thibert part, you know, really quick. And so it's more stylized than literal. And so I did that, and I got through the deadline, and it stayed with me ever since.
Yeah, like I had to figure out how to do my name in a very quick, proper way as well. So it's that kind of thing, right? It's out of necessity to speed up the process.
Yeah. Do you sign your first and last name, or just your last name?
I sign the whole thing, but like I do it like it's like a check of approval, right? So I'll take that V and I'll drag it across the entire top of it, and then it's. I developed it's really quick. I could do it so fast. I'm really like, how did you sign so many books so fast? I said, I've been doing all these conventions for all these years. Trust me, I'm good like that.
Yeah, I think if I didn't have to learn or like work faster with a gun to my head, I could have worked something out better. But I like it. I think people like it too, the way I do it. Yeah.
Do you have one handy? I want to see.
I can do one. Yeah. Let me go here. Let me see. I got a little posted here. So everybody says it looks like Mo. Like, oh, it's Mo. So it's like I used to do like the AT like that. So that's how I would sign the covers. So it's kind of that idea. So it's like that. So it's like the A and the T, and then this is the Thibert, and then this is the I. You know.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing.
Looking, I like it.
I dig it. I think it's Mike Miller that was giving me shit about it. He's like, it looks like Mo. I'm like, whatever.
That's just what Miller does.
Well, now my name's Mo.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that's why I'm going to start calling you now.
Yeah, just call me Mo.
Mo. That's actually one of my relatives' names.
Is Mo short for something? Is it Moses?
No, well, my cousin, it's her parents called her that for short. It's not even what her name is. I don't want to dox her on air.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's not even her name. They just started calling her that because it's the first letter. I don't know where the O came from, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, like Mo, like Mo with the Three Stooges. I'm like, Is that like a full name, or is that like Moses? Is it short for, like a name?
Short for Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the Three Stooges, it was MOE.
Yeah, it's MOE, right? Yeah. It's not Mo. Oh, you said Mose, not Mo?
Well, no, my cousin, they call her Mo, M-O.
Oh, just M-O. Oh, okay.
Like, that's weird.
It's even like Mo Money.
Oh.
Mo Money, Mo Money, Mo Money. Maurice is not. Is that really? Is Mo short for Maurice?
That too, yeah. I guess it all depends.
Yeah, there's some things like Richard Dick, and then isn't like Ricky even like where do we get all these things from?
And there's Jimmy and James.
Yeah, yeah. We can't be content with just a
right. Like those are two totally different names. Jimmy and James.
Well, being a New Yorker, your name's probably Vincent, right? But it gets like, hey, Vinnie, right? So.
Well, and the thing too, because like it's another relative's name. So when they were signing things or for holidays like Christmas or whatnot, they can't have two Y's, or it would be like one's Big Vinny, one's Little Vinny. But when I started doing the artwork to sign my name, it looks a lot cleaner, like kind of that check mark and then all one line. So that's why I put IE instead of a Y.
Yeah, it aesthetically looks pretty cool too.
That's what I think. There's a bunch of people who every time I sign, like, oh my God, you got a really professional signature. I'm like, oh, thanks. I never thought of that, but it's just kind of efficient for me.
I worked on it, man.
For years. I was crying. You know how many pieces of paper I had to ruin?
How many trees lost their lives?
I only went like with the initial thing at one point, but it didn't stick.
Yeah, I did like that AT that I showed you. Then there's that inker. His name's Matt Banning, and so he kind of swiped like the AT part. So the middle of the B and the extra T is my signature. Yeah. And so when I saw that, I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I just changed it up at that point.
Right.
So
did you corner him and call him a son of a bitch? No, I'm kidding.
Son of a bitch. I told him. I was like, you swiped my signature. Bat. No, he's a good friend. I don't care. Yeah. Yeah,
I met him once. He is a very nice guy.
Yeah, he's a pretty good guy. He's a really talented inker. It's so funny because there's some people that they're just really good at like certain things, and that's it. Like he doesn't really draw, he doesn't write, he's not like a creative person. He's just a really good inker. You know what I mean? Like I'm so used to people, like inkers having some kind of drawing skills and things like that. I don't think he has any. Like he's just really a great inker.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wow. This is my passion. I like to ink. He did a lot of stuff with Mark Silvestri, I remember.
It was brilliant. Yeah. The funny thing is, this is why I say this. If you look, sometimes there's like structure lines, like, like sometimes when you're drawing, you like leave in some structure lines because you can't fully erase it. Sometimes if you look, like Bat will ink those structure lines too.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, see, that's the thing, if you know how to draw, you know what those things are, and you don't ink them. But he's very literal, but he's got such a crazy cool style, and he's got great movement with his hand that man, his line is so freaking cool.
Yeah, I always dug his stuff, but I know what you're saying too, especially if pieces get very complicated. I could totally understand how that kind of thing could happen as well, where the structure line gets inked as well.
But I think it's weird because it also has like a kinetic energy to it. And I think maybe that's why. It's kind of like, you ever watch like Disney animation when they weren't like inking it anymore and they were just like 101 Dalmatians, where there was like structure lines and stuff. And it kind of has this kind of energy to it.
Yeah. That charm that's different from a lot of other things.
Yeah, and I think that might be part of it as well. But yeah, I dig his stuff. Jim Lee says, what does Jim Lee say? Mighty Joe Young says, Jim Lee says, you should have a cool art tag signature, gives a memorable impression. Well, I think I nailed that. What is this, Mo Bart? Mo Bart, Victor. Okay, man. So I'm gonna do a little bit of Chrono promotion, and then we are going to call this one. So
yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's do this. All right, this is near and dear to my heart, and we had a little movement the last couple days too. So we're 30,881. We have 431 backers, and we are in demand now. So thank you guys so much for the support. And if you can't back it now, just tweet it out. Use your social media. All the help is definitely appreciated. So the Chrono Mechanics, they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. So this is an action-adventure time travel story which follows a team of highly diversified and ego-driven time repairmen as they race the clock to keep the Earth's erratic merging timelines from imploding. To compound their problems, a self-centered work-aphobic, my wife came up with workaphobic, I think that's genius, new recruit who may be the one thing they can't fix before the whole Earth falls apart. Yeah, so that's kind of the idea. So we have the super fantastic meets the mundane. So they're repairmen. It's their pain in the ass job, but these guys, probably know every secret known to the cosmos or that exists in the cosmos, but to them it's just their pain in the ass job. So they're just like any other repairman. They get up, they go, they punch a time clock, they get in their time ship, they commute along the time stream to the work site, they get to the work site, and then they fix the machine. But it doesn't always go. It's not always that simple. Sometimes they'll get stuck in traffic. Sometimes within the time stream, they'll have a backup of chronomites. And chronomites are like time gremlins, and they eat tech and machinery. So if you go into a time sector that is inhabited with chronomites, you will have your ship just, they're like piranha, and they'll just strip your ship clean. So they have to get in and out of those things as quickly as possible. And so you'll find out about those guys in the story. So
almost like the Jawas.
Yeah. They'll just jack shit up, man. And we call them technivores. So they just eat any kind of metal and technology. And so that's kind of what happens at the beginning of the story. And the ship crashes, the time ship crashes before it can get to the work site. And so what happens is, by regulations, Chrono Incorporated regulations, there has to be 4 mechanics on the job. And so they actually lose a mechanic in the, actually you see it here. They lose a mechanic. His name is Miguel. So he's the guy that's over here on the left-hand side with the guitar with his tongue hanging out. And sadly, he did not make it. And so you see a giant hole in the side of the ship there. So the ship is stranded, and they don't have any power. So they don't have any power really for their tools or even to power up the suits. So they're kind of at a major disadvantage. And also they lost a member. So they have to, try to deal with all these problems, plus a new recruit, which is Doug. And he's a 70s like rock star, but he's big time a slacker. Like, he doesn't really like work. Work is a 4-letter word to this guy. He just likes, sex, drugs, rock and roll. That's pretty much, his key to life, his mantra. And so, that's the whole point of the story, is to see if this guy fits into the team, and if he does fit in the team, what does he bring to the team? Because he doesn't really have any skills to speak of. He's a slacker. So this image right here is Chrono Incorporated. So Chrono Incorporated is a giant satellite in timeless space. So the headquarters isn't really regulated by any time rules. So while you're at work, you do not age. So it's a timeless space. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so, go ahead.
The colors on this.
This is Narwhal. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah, there's like this really cool, like 2D kind of coloring, but there's like this cool translucentness to things, like the dome over the satellite and stuff like that. So it's not there's I guess you could call them a special effect, but not like a traditional. Like a lot of digital stuff can be overdone to the point of just being gaudy and just way overdone. But he managed to do just enough.
Yeah, because there's certain people I know that there's just so many light sources on an image, and it hurts the eyes to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, I like kind of this approach, because it's kind of like the Mike Mignola approach, where there's one light source.
Right, and simple is powerful. But yeah, it really works with how you did this page to begin with. The composition is just beautiful. That lighting, it makes it pop. It's subtle. It doesn't have to be over the top, but it has a very cinematic feel to it.
Yeah, and I think in a way it's more sophisticated. It's not like, in your face kind of, overdone, but I think it takes more work to try to figure out how to do things in a more simple, direct way than to overcomplicate something.
Yeah, the subtleties. I'm all about that as well. So
yeah,
I'm really happy I backed this one. This looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be like an adventure you've never seen before. Like it is just so much fun, and there's just so much weird and odd stuff that happens. But it's all fun and very, very like action adventure oriented. And there's kind of a Three Stooges aspect to the relationship with the characters. So they like to punch each other and fight. And so I think I might have a page, or at least the aftermath of the fight. So these down here, like kind of it looks like a big screw or a nut, floating out in space. So the little division on the dome is like where you would stick a screwdriver blade, and then the ports down below. Some of them are lit up, some of them aren't. That's kind of like the screw, the threads at the bottom. And so those do turn. It's kind of like a combination lock where different combinations, the way the ports will line up, will take you to different time sectors. So they're kind of like the Green Lantern Corps, where they have sectors. So this story focuses on Team 9.2 of Sector 7. So they have their sector that they regulate, maintain, and fix, because the machine is literally a huge cosmic clockwork machine. It's like you can't even describe how huge it is. It's like as big as the galaxy, as big as the universe. So so there's sectors and there's different places in time that humans have never even seen or been before. So that's what each one of these ports will take them to, a specific sector or timeline. And so I think Narwhal did this great kind of, it's a take on Kirby Crackle, but it's not quite that. So these little energy pellets are coming out of these ports. I think those are really cool.
I like how much you thought about how it works and everything. That's cool stuff. I really dig it.
Yeah, I love this stuff. It's like creating a whole universe, That's why I like fantasy. I like dealing with the real world as well, but I do like fantasy because you get to make everything up, all the rules.
Yeah, another kind of freedom altogether with it.
Yeah. So these are our mechanics. So this is Caravaggio being introduced to Doug. And so Caravaggio thinks that Doug is being wigged out because he's in mechanic form. And he thinks if he goes to his core form, which is a Renaissance artist, inventor, that he'll be freaked out less. But he doesn't realize just being teleported to this area, is wigging him out enough. Like it's kind of like a Dorothy or like Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland. Kind of, you're not in you're not in Kansas anymore kind of story for this Doug character. Yeah. So then he's introduced to Oot, which is a prehistoric businessman. And so Oot has a little bit of a short temper. So you don't touch him, you don't bump him. So he's just going to cream this guy's corn right here. And so then Zin, who's the calm peacemaker, he's the spiritual character. He saves Doug from a fate worse than death. And so then he introduces himself. And so he's a little squid-like creature. So this is just kind of an insight to these different worlds and galaxies and universes that exist. So Zin, was recruited from one of those that, we don't even know, exists.
It's really amazing how you did this, with the different versions of them like that. I like it, man.
I love like the Captain Marvel, or Shazam, I should say,
right.
kind of dual identities, Batman, Bruce Wayne. I always liked that as a kid, like that superhero type idea. Yeah, and so
the table for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to do that, but it's kind of like a superhero idea, but it also is explained by they have work suits. So one of the ideas is, like when you work like construction, you have coveralls, or if you're a mechanic, you have your, what do they call it? It's like a coverall, yeah, that goes over your clothes so you don't get grease all over yourself and things like that. So the idea is that the suit actually transforms them as well to the job requirements. So to fix time, you have to be superhuman and you have to be a certain height. Like these guys are easily 7 foot tall. Like they're bigger than a normal human being. Yeah. And they're kind of super powered, and they have like super endurance and stamina. So they're a little superhero like.
Yeah, no, it works. It definitely works, man. I tell you, when you came on my stream, like right after, I'm like, yeah, I'm backing this. Because it looks so good, and you put so much thought into it.
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, I want this thing to be so successful because I want to keep telling stories, because I got a million stories. And as well as I do, the most frustrating part about where we're at right now is that you have to get done what's in front of you at that moment, right? But there's always that little thing like the next project, the next idea, and it's always just at the back of your memory, right? But it's always something you want to indulge in, right? You just want to go, I'm going to take a day off and I'm just going to develop this new idea or this new story. But you can't.
Yeah, no, trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, because then you go, well, I'll just get behind schedule. So you kind of keep putting those on the back burner, but they never freaking go away.
Well, the thing is, I'm still doing freelance work too, so I'm juggling a few things at once.
Oh wow, yeah. I stopped taking commissions. I still owe a couple. I still have like 2 commissions, but I stopped taking commissions just because, it's just not fair to make somebody wait that's backed the book. So I'm trying to keep all my focus on getting the book done and get it done in a timely fashion. Just so, people that backed, will get their book, and can enjoy it. And then I can move on to the next. But it's real tempting to kind of have a lot of this stuff overlap, though.
Oh, yeah. But
go ahead.
That is the thing, right? It's as long as your campaigns keep doing well, then, yeah, you could push the other stuff aside. But like in my case, I still need to take, the certain jobs I've been doing. I'm not talking about little commissions here and there. I mean, like, working for doing commercial artwork. I have a couple of irons in the fire, but like I don't really want to do that stuff. I still want to focus on telling my stories. So like at the moment, like I had to push some things aside, or I'm only working on pages here or there out of my new campaign. But like after February, I'm going to be gung ho on my stuff again. Like this month, or maybe bleeding in a little bit into March, I have to get other stuff done, right? So that's the other thing too, that like more people need to realize with what we're doing, right? Because not everyone is in that position where they could just sit back and just focus on the Indiegogo stuff yet. You know, that's the goal, because I think what we have is really special. So that's why I keep thanking people over and over for you know, all the support they've been giving on each and every campaign of mine, and other great people. Because yeah, you're helping us get closer to what we need to do, not only for ourselves but for the industry that we're trying to still, you know, this is where it's at. It's not the main two anymore. It's what we're doing.
Yeah, no, well said. Definitely well said. And I tried to do that because when I first started doing black and white, I was still at DC Comics, so I had my day job, but oh my gosh, the workload was it was too crazy, and I just wasn't moving fast enough on the Create Your Own. So I was really fortunate where I asked my wife, I was like, "Is this okay?" And she said, "Yeah, we'll make it. I have faith. I have faith. We'll make it." And so, you know, when you have your wife backing you, it means everything. And so,
Her art.
what's that?
It's a good one. You better keep her art.
Oh yeah, I plan on it. Yeah. And so, and she's also my partner, you know, writing partner and creative partner in all of this stuff. And so, yeah, so she said that, and you know, we've been dipping into savings here and there to try to, you know, keep things running smoothly to pay everybody and stuff like that. But the way I'm looking at, like, even pulling, you know, from my investments and things like that from the past, is that I'm investing in the future, you know, because I believe in this so much that I'm willing to, you know, pull stuff from my retirement and pull things from different sources financially so I can make this work and I can stay here. You know, one of my biggest inspirations is Walt Disney. And, you know, Walt Disney put his house up just so he could finance a steam, what do they call them? Steam wheel, like steamship. That goes around like the oceans of what is it, the lakes, so rivers of America, you know. So he didn't want to compromise, and they said, well, if we cut this out of the budget, you know, we can come in on budget. And he said, no. How much will it be? They told him, and so, you know, he put his house up for, you know, to pay for the ship. And if you think, like, even like Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas and a lot of those directors of the past, those guys have put like their houses up and took out seconds and loans and stuff like that to finance their movies and their dream. So, you know, that
Thank you for yourself. Sure.
Yeah, invest in yourself. Exactly. And so, you know, we're in a fortunate position that we can do that. But at the same time, you know, you want these things to be self-supportive, you know, so that you don't have that kind of, because, you know, that money's only going to last so long as well. So you want to keep it going, and you want these things to be self-sufficient to where, because, you know, I do want to get rich. I want to, you know, I want to get as many books into as many people's hands as possible. But at the same time, you know, I have to be realistic with it. So, you know, like the goal is, you know, all the bells and whistles, you know, the future, getting a Chrono book or a black and white book into everybody's hands. But in the meantime, you know, I'm going to have to suck it up a little bit to get there, you know, and I don't mind at all.
Oh, and that's it. Like you said too, though, like as more people are seeing how reliable we are, like each campaign keeps growing and doing better. So that's how I know we definitely are on the right track.
Well, your campaigns definitely, man. I think, like, aren't you already doing better on this one than like your other campaigns have started at?
This one took off a rocket. Yeah, because I have City of Venus is getting closer to 16,000 now. But you know, when it closed, before I went in demand on that, it was like at 9,000. So yeah, it's crazy to see how this kind of plays out. But at the same time, it's more people started getting these books. They get them in hand, and then they tell other people, or they show it online, and you know, the retweeting and posting all over social media. Yeah, it all helps. Every little bit helps. So, and I think the good thing too is like you said, everybody, I think they were waiting for this since they missed it on the first go around. Yeah, it's a I mean, having a complete story like that, that you could see I put everything into it. I mean, nothing is half-assed on that. Though I know the first go around, I might have had one or two little errors in the book, but all that's being taken care of, or it's been taken care of. So yeah, I'm just excited to get this thing into people's hands, because it is the first story that I had completed, you know, and I'm super proud of that.
Yeah, there's no cutting corners because it's your baby. Like, I can't do it. I physically can't do it. Like, I can't send one of these pages out until it's perfect. And then even when I get the page back, like colored, you know how time you can see mistakes? I'll still fix it later. There's still a couple pages I have notes, you know, that if there's time, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do some correcting, you know?
I did that with after the floppies, after we got the floppies in hand. Because at that point it was too late. I already did the big order, so there's a couple of, like I said, super tiny errors, but it's not that big a deal. But yeah, they've been corrected, or I've even edited out certain things after rereading it a couple of times. I'm like, yeah, this doesn't have to be there. So you know, so this version that they're going to be getting is the definitive edition.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even that the consumer or the reader is going to notice it, but man, it means so much to the artist, doesn't it? Like, sometimes you just can't let it go. You're like, no. Yeah. that shape is overlapping that other shape. I have to fix it, you know, or that hand is way too big. I have to change the size, you know.
Exactly. It's how it is.
You're compelled, like it's crazy. It's like you're possessed by like some kind of art demon. You have to.
It's like Frazetta said too. He goes, how long does it take you to do a painting? And he goes, you know, he gave whatever his time frame is, but he goes, but seriously, if someone gave me 2 years to work on a painting, I'll use all 2 years.
Yep. So, I used to say that, like, when editors would get down on me and they go, you know, it's taking so long, it's whatever. It's like, yeah, well, it's my job to make sure this looks as good as possible. It's your job to keep me in check. You know what I mean? Like, you have to crack that whip, give me a deadline and keep on me. Otherwise, I will, you know, spend as much time as I humanly possible. You know, it's humanly possible to do it within the time restraints. So, you know, a lot of times they're pulling those pages, not physically, but they're pulling those pages right out of your hands, you know, because you're not ready to let, you know, your baby go yet.
Yeah, that's just how it goes, man. Yeah. Artists are like that. We're a freaky bunch.
Yeah, we are a freaky bunch. Yeah. But you know what? Like, there's no other type of person, you know, comic book fans and comic book artists, because, man, I've been to parties and, you know, you just talk about the same old, and it's like, I am bored to death. But man, I can talk to somebody like you, Vinnie, like for hours and hours and not get bored.
Likewise, brother.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this is the sketchbook, work in progress. It's just like how Vinnie is going to play with the format a little bit. We're going to play with the format with the sketchbook work in progress, where it's going to be horizontal. So it's going to be like a calendar or like a centerfold pinup type thing.
Yeah.
Where you go up and down instead of left and right. And so it's also going to be themed. So Eugene is the elucidator. So he's kind of the computer data bank for Chrono Incorporated. So he's going to narrate the art book. So he'll pop up every once in a while and he'll give you little elucidative notes. I don't even know if that's a word, but he'll elucidate you on the ins and outs of chrono mechanics and on my process. So that's going to be fun. Here's some of the sketches. So this is Doug, aka the D. As I just did this just to goof off. One of the times I actually had time to goof off.
I like that Slash kind of look.
Yeah, so he's Slash from Guns N' Roses, and then, you know, when I was doing animation and I had to, you know, work with a lot, you know, like other people, I started doing some studies and trying to kind of figure out how the character would move and different like facial expressions and stuff like that. So I have a couple sheets of each one of the characters like this.
It's fun. It's fun to play in those different styles.
Oh yeah, I had a ball. And so this is this one's Oot, this one's Zin, And so those will be in there. Also, I have some pitch stuff. I did a Chrono pitch for Kids WB, and that will be in the art book and I pitched for Fox Pitcherama for animated cartoon, and I did it in the form of an 11-page comic book. So I'm going to put some of those pages in there as well. So I'm going to wrap this up soon. So this is these are the variant covers. So we have Cheeks Galloway, we have Tom Bancroft.
He looks so damn good.
Yeah, and we have Aaron Lopresti. And then we have Carlo Barberi on Caravaggio. And then this is the poster package. So like we were talking earlier, these smaller posters are about comic book size. And they're prints. And then we have 2 posters. So the Doug World Tour poster and the Time to Panic are oversized. So they're bigger than 11 by 17. Let me see if the size is in here. No, it's not in here. It's in the description, though. And so those are really, really big, oversized. So these are all the stretch goals. So if you come in now, man, you get all these freebies just by backing. So you get 4 of these trading cards, this trading card set. You get this trading card, which is a special like variant cover design. And then you get the button, and then you get the guitar pick. And then we've had 2 different 6 pages unlocked. So that's a total of 12 pages. So we took the book, with your help, we took the book from a 48-page to a 60-page graphic novel. So thank you guys very much. And please come by, check out not only Chrono Mechanics, but check out Through the Woods. That's Vinnie Tartamella. Is that his new campaign, Through the Woods? And that book looks amazing, and we're both killing ourselves on these books. So please come by, check them out.
Dip out. I'll show you real quick too the other campaign that I had. It's closed, but if you just wanted to see like my cartoony style.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I would like to see that.
The share screen thing. So you got to approve that.
Creamed corn, clean as clock. Yeah, I say things just to get a rise out of people sometimes. So Mighty Joe Young picked up on it. That dude had his corn creamed.
But yeah, I think you gotta. Yeah, if you hit approve down there.
Yeah, I will. Drew, aka Mr. E, says I backed both of these books already. Thank you so much, Drew.
Yeah, he's got a good book too, Captain Love. So yeah,
I didn't know this was you. Okay, I did see this floating around.
Yeah, so yeah, this is like the totally different style that I had done.
Killer.
And so that's what I mean. Like, it is fun to experiment and do different things all around. And this is like the only super family friendly book that I have. So yeah, so I mean, that's how it goes with this stuff, right? We're putting everything into it. We're playing around. We're experimenting. And yeah, certain things click. Certain things are just really, really fun to do and different. But yeah, I thought maybe you'd dig it.
Oh, I totally dig it.
Oh, and there, yeah, this is
and there's your art book too. Yeah.
The 7 books that I had released that year.
You have a sketchbook, and then is the main art book, is that a hardbound as well?
No, these are comic book format, so they have the saddle stitch, the staples in them. Okay. But they're 52 pages. I use different printers between this first one and the one that's tied to the campaign with City of Venus. I had switched over because when I got my proof copy of City of Venus, it was not at the standard that I was expecting, and I was having a back and forth. So you know what? I'm going to look up a better printer, and I found the one that I found. I'm super thrilled with, and so all my books from City of Venus up until now are all going to be with this printer because the quality is some of the highest I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but when you find that person, man, hold on.
Oh yeah, yeah, you do not want to let go of that.
Yeah, very cool, man. So this is a blast, Vinny. We got to hang out more often because you're so easy to talk to.
Oh yes, I told you. Anytime you want, if you want me on, if you want to come online, the invite is there, brother.
Do you ever just like do live streams where you're drawing?
I've done a lot of the drawing streams with like War Campaign, and I think they're bringing back that Doodle and Chill.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Sim has been doing that. I think with Adam and Tinfoil Hat Nick. So yeah, I think it'll be. I'm gonna try to keep jumping on more of those. But when I could start to show my other campaigns that I'm working on, like City of Venus 2, I'd be more than happy to show like my process. But as it is right now, like my current story, I'm not going to show anything because I don't want spoilers or anything like that leaked yet.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, I'm kind of looking for people to hang out because I want to live stream more, but I need to spend the majority of my time working, like drawing. So I was thinking of trying to combine working and streaming.
Yeah.
And if you can get if you can hang out with a couple people, then you don't have to do all the heavy lifting because sometimes you have to focus and you stop talking and it becomes awkward for people to watch.
Yeah. This is true.
Because sometimes you can get lost in the artwork and then you forget that you're even live streaming.
Oh yeah, dude. I zone out a lot because it's the details you're putting in and you need to make sure your hand is steady, your mind is focused. Yeah.
Yeah, you just get lost in it.
What's happening?
Yeah, exactly. I think Skits wants to know your printer. Do you want to make that available, or maybe you can contact him?
Well, in private. It's better to do that stuff in private all the time. But yeah, I've had Skits on too, and he's welcome back. So yeah, hit me up in DMs anytime. Yeah, I'm always willing to share that kind of info.
Oh man, I just got a taker, so maybe Skits and I will do some studio hangouts. That would be fun. Yeah, and we could just talk, and then when I have to focus, somebody else can talk.
It depends on what project too. So I mean, yeah, reach out anytime you're going to do them. I would still love to jump on if I can.
Yeah, I think that maybe once a week, or I would actually like to do them more, just because then I can kind of kill two birds with one stone. And I don't know, there's pros and cons with it. Some people go, oh well, live streams where you're drawing, people don't like that. But I've heard just as many say that they love it. That they really enjoy watching people work through problems and draw this stuff live. And for me as an artist, I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. I was thinking about maybe doing some kind of like drawing tutorials every now and then as well, right? Like a little anatomy study or stuff like that.
Yeah. Do like what was the wizard one called? It's like
the Art Sears one.
Yeah, and it wasn't great.
Crash
Course or something.
Yeah, Crash Course. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, do something like that. Yeah, online. So yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about this is the sky's the limit, right? We can do
totally anything. Yep, dude, it's a beautiful thing we got going.
Yes, very much so. So you guys check out those projects, Chrono Mechanics and Through the Woods. Greatly appreciate it, and I'll let you go, Vinny, because I know it's later there. You're on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I'll probably be working up until 1 a.m. anyway.
What the heck, man? Yeah. Are you working right now? Do you work while you just kind of hang out in these streams?
Well, yeah. As we were talking, I was getting some work done. But yeah, I hope it wasn't too noticeable.
No. It's you're always spot on. That's why I asked, because if I start working, I just can't. I can't keep up with the chat.
You just start. Yeah, you talk really quiet, and they're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, you're kind of talking straight down to your drawing. You know what I mean? Like you're not projecting anymore.
You start mumbling. It's tricky when I gotta host it myself. I can't really work if I'm hosting because I'm showing people's campaigns. I'm looking at two different screens.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you said you have two screens set up, right? Because you draw digitally, right?
Yeah, well, I do both. I paint digitally, but I do traditional work as well. So it depends on the mood of the day and what I'm actually working on that needs to be super hyper clean. then yeah, I'll do like digital inks on the computer. But most of the time, I'd rather do that traditionally. So, well, you've seen some of the stuff that I sold during the auction as well. I had
Yeah.
a mix of everything in there.
So do you like your main comic book work, like Through the Woods? Is that all digital, or you like are those like from your pencils and then you're going over them with color digitally?
Um, a little from column B mostly. Well, the thing is, like, I had them all in a sketchbook. I didn't do them on 11 by 17 board. So I would scan in that stuff and then kind of either reformat or like add a couple other panels to lengthen it out the proper way and make sure that the story flowed. So yeah, I would take my pencils and then either I would even drop some shadowing too. It depends on kind of what the page was calling for, to kind of really to work it out better for myself. But people will see that in the layout section. So you'll see some of them are very hyper clean, and then I have like a little bit of gray tones here and there. Others are a little bit like you see some of like the sloppy pencil work. But like City of Venus, I did a little bit of that as well. But then I was doing more tight drawings. And my current one, I'm doing them all on the, well, not all of them. I'd say maybe 2/3 of the book are done on 11 by 17 board. So it's all hand penciled. Some of them are inked. And then I scan that in and paint on top of that.
So do you work in like differently because you get bored, or is there any kind of like method to the madness?
A little of both. Sometimes it could be a little bit of boredom, or I know I could work it out better if it's traditionally drawn rather than doing it on the computer, because it's something that if you're doing your perspective lines and that kind of stuff, that it has a more tangible or real feel to it if you're doing it traditionally rather than digitally, if that makes sense.
Somebody else told me that as well, and I'm thinking, to me, because I don't work it out that way, I don't really draw digitally, but I would think it would work the opposite, because the computer, what it does very well is like geometrics, like
Right.
those type of things, and also like to find a vanishing point, you can scale the artwork down on the computer. And find the vanishing point. But sometimes when you're drawing, especially multiple panels on one page, there's like a million different vanishing points, and a lot of times they're way off the board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
again, I think it depends, because so like you said, you think it would be easier that way, but like let's say you're doing a cityscape, right? It could look too damn clean, right? Like too perfect, where it looks fake. Well, like me personally, that's how I kind of notice. So if you go around Manhattan, or you're looking at the city and even some of like the neighborhoods, or a perfect example is kind of how like Capullo was doing a lot of like cityscapes or that kind of those shots. I think there's something that's more gritty and real that you get out of it. And because a lot of things are, I mean, if you look at those buildings, they're built in a certain way where they will sway in the wind. So nothing is super perfect either, right? Or if bricks are kind of out of place, I think it gives more of a natural feel. It feels more real. It gives more character than if you're going to have everything is super symmetrical, super perfect, super pristine.
I can see that. I guess what I was thinking is more like, how you use the vanishing points and you grid it first. So it seems like digitally would definitely work out better for that. But then when you're actually drawing in the buildings and the details, it seems like it'd be better to do that by hand.
Right. Well, it's what's good too is like I guess you could use like those kind of grids if you develop them to check your artwork, right? To make sure that the vanishing points are correct. That's always good too.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I think it's a good blend together, but I am more of like a traditional person anyway, because like my whole background was as a penciler first. That's what almost got me the Spider-Man job. That's what got me a lot of my work. Like, 'cause when I worked at Todd, I was only doing that. I was doing pencils. I wasn't. I never touched a computer at that point.
I have the computers. Was anybody working with computers? What year was that?
Really? That's like around 2000, 2003, 4-ish. Yeah, I mean, but it was a while ago. Like computers really started getting more popular a little bit later on. Like, I mean, obviously in comics they were starting to use them, but
But mostly coloring and then just, the writing programs, but not actually just drawing from scratch, right? That didn't come till later, like with the Wacom and those different programs, right?
Well, yeah, I know like those other programs now. I think people are they have like figure drawing programs or whatever, where they basically like tracing over fixed poses. That drives me crazy.
Yeah.
To me, that's cheap, and it's worse than cheating.
Yeah, the only thing I've ever been tempted to do, and I've done this, and even with traditional, where like cars or certain mechanical things that I can draw, but they take a long time. And usually, like if you draw a car from scratch, they almost become like cartoon-looking cars. They look like they're slightly inflated, like a balloon, like they're slightly like cartooned up. And so if you want to get anything realistic, I would always just find a photograph and then just basically light box it, down and then ink it up from there. And so now they have programs where, like when I was working with Carlo Barberi on Super Sons, there were cars. It was the same car, and I know is it SketchUp? Is that the program where you can buy a car, like it's a Porsche, whatever, and then you basically have every conceivable angle of that car. Wow. So you can move it around, and then you can basically like convert it into line art, and then it looks just like your pencils,
Jesus, yeah, no, I've never gone that route.
Yeah. It's insane. The only problem is like if you're lifting a car, like your Superman, you're lifting the car over the head. You know how the suspension, the tires will kind of bow in a little bit when they're not, there's no pressure on them.
You'll lose that.
Yeah, you lose that because it still looks very like it's like it's on the ground, So I think there's still some augmentation you have to do to make it look,
of course,
cool. But I've seen a lot of people that don't even do that. Like they'll just like take it right from, this, I think it's called SketchUp, because my brother's an architect and he uses it. So, like if they want a car in the garage, he's drawing a garage or like a driveway, or, if it's a shopping center, he'll use SketchUp and he'll throw those cars in there. They even have it for people, like crowds and stuff like that. So
it's funny when you said that too, about like Superman holding up a car. I did that with Supergirl, right? And like I got it really looks great the way that I did it, but I didn't really have much reference. And people went, "You took a photo, right?" I'm like, "No, I didn't take a photo. That's imagination that I used."
Yeah, because sometimes when you nail it, people are like, "Wait a minute, you trace that?" It's like, no, because sometimes like you see people like Travis Charest or something like that, and like some work looks like it's all photo referenced, and then you're like, did you use a photograph? It's like, no, I just drew it out of my head. It's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah. A guy like him, man, yeah, he's one of those just phenoms. But then, even going back for a second, it's just when you look at the kind of industry and you see how many scam artists there are and fakes and people who copy off one another, I think that stuff really, really hurts the industry. I'm tempted to say names, but I won't. Not on air.
Yeah, we all have to start somewhere, because I always say, like, even the Beatles did cover tunes. But I think if you're 5-6 years into your career and you're still doing cover tunes, you know what I mean? Then then you should reevaluate things. Yeah, because at some point you do have to start making stuff up on your own.
Of course, especially the medium that we're doing. It's to have fun, and it's not. You're just going to trace over a photo or trace over someone else's artwork. Dude, to me, I would crucify those people.
Yeah. Where's the that?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I say names on my channel who, if anyone ripped me off, I am happy to blast them. I won't do it on other people's streams.
Yeah. I had this guy, this illustrator, I don't remember his name, but it was some like basketball guy. And so what was it? I drew a cover for the Flash, and the Flash is running, and he's running so fast, like the suit is like vibrating off of his. I think it was to expose that it wasn't Barry Allen, it was Wally West. Right. That was the Flash suit, and so the suit's kind of like just basically dissolving off of his body. And so somebody did that with like a basketball guy. And so it's like his street clothes dissolving into his like whatever his team is. You know how they have the jerseys, the like the t-shirt and the shorts. And so he's doing exactly the same thing. And this is the weird thing. Like he had a watch on, like Wally West had a watch, like a very specific watch and just certain things. And the guy even did those. Like all he did was change the guy's face. That's really all he did,
what Yeah, don't even try.
Yeah, and that was floating around, and somebody said, "Hey, Art, you know this," and this is what pisses me off, Vinny. This is the part, because that guy was an illustrator, and he probably has an agent, works for advertising companies, stuff like that, and he probably got paid more off that one illustration than I did that entire issue of Flash.
Most likely, dude. And even the ones who they've actually come out and they've shown their process of how they trace over photographs. I sit there with my mouth open going, how the hell did they get work? And they're continuously getting work. And it's like they're cocky on top of it.
Well, a photograph is one thing, but if they're swiping another artist's work, that's really right.
And I've had that happen to me a number of times.
Yeah. But like what was it? Like for about the first 3 or 4 years of me working professionally, I worked as an illustrator. So like even Norman Rockwell, he would trace the photographs, and Drew Struzan traced the photographs.
But yeah, their skill came in the painting process and coming up with those concepts, right?
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of skill obviously in that, but like these people who are literally just like they're tracing over photographs and then it goes over to another inker or the colorist or whatever. To me, it makes no sense because first of all, things look very stiff and weird. Greg Gland, he's very famous for doing that kind of crap, and every single face is the same face, like every female that he does, or that type of thing. It drives me up a wall to see that in this kind of field that we're working in. If you're doing like different kind of, commercial work, I get it. If you're doing like an ad for, I don't know, bubble gum or something, I guess. But to do like storytelling, it's odd to me.
Well, when I first, I'm just playing devil's advocate, I guess. But my first year or so, when I went from illustration into comic books, so the first year in comic books, I used photographs. But what I did is I had a Polaroid camera and I would take pictures of my friends and things like that. So it was photographed, but then it wasn't traced. It was just kind of like augmented and stuff like that, just so I could put them in basic positions. But you're right. Like even somebody like Norman Rockwell, because I have an art book on Norman Rockwell. He had an agent that searched the whole, United States to find characters so he could paint. You know what I mean? So like his process wasn't just, I'm going to take the photograph off of Life magazine, because that's what Greg Land does. He takes very popular. Yeah. That's where he gets busted. It's like, because everybody knows that's the swimsuit, cover or whatever it is. But I think if you're clever and you're finding, your subject matter, and then you're drawing from that, then right. I think it's a little bit more, I don't know, I guess it's more unique and it's more interesting right. Also.
Did you hear what you just said? You said you took photos of friends and family like that, but you used them as reference. You didn't trace them.
No, yeah, because they're ugly people.
Yeah. No, aside from
I'm kidding. They were so ugly and out of shape, man. But the basic stuff was there.
Well, and that's the thing. That's like reference for the artist. When you're literally tracing over, like light boxing over shit, get out of this field. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out. And the worst ones are the ones who trace over other artists, like Terry Dawson did that to me twice. Twice he did that.
Dawson did really?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Holy shit.
2 years ago, whatever. The Supergirl piece that I had brought up, he copied off of my artwork to do Superwoman, the one where they made Lois Lane into a superpowered whatever. She's lifting the car over her head. He did the same exact thing. He just swapped the legs a little bit. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Dude.
And you do some before and after, man.
No, I posted all over the internet. I posted it everywhere because this guy, he was caught in the past as well. He had his own website years ago, and he bit off a Spider-Man fucking drawing that I did, and 2 other people came after him on his message board, and he shut down his whole site.
Really?
So what does that tell you? You know, it's not a one-off or a oops, that's kind of a coincidence. You know, certain people are just like that. They're dirty, they're sneaky.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to live and let live, but
well, I do too. But if someone's directly biting off of me or hurt me somehow like that, yeah, I'll be vocal. I don't care. I'm not sitting on my hands. I guess that's why I've always been Comicsgate, even before Comicsgate.
Yeah. So who was the guy that you said that did the Supergirl cover?
Terry Dawson.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Supergirl that.
Why he would do that? Because that guy can draw.
Well, it's a time crunch, right? If he's running out of ideas and he's doing a number of different covers for a number of different companies,
right?
Because I know he used to live on DeviantArt, and he's been on my page. He's even commented on some of my stuff here or there, and like I know that Supergirl piece that I had like over 70,000 views or something like that.
What's your DeviantArt? I'm going to look it up because then I can see all your all these drawings. Is it your name?
No, it's VINROC, Vinrock, just without the K.
Yeah, I'll check that out. I'd like to see some of your older stuff, these covers that you're talking about.
Yeah. Wait, I can tell you right now. Okay, this Supergirl that I have is 63,000 views.
Holy shit! On Deviant? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, DeviantArt. I've had a number of gigantic views and pieces. Yeah, I have a really famous one that everyone tried to rip off and try to make T-shirts of and stuff. I have the girls playing, the girls from DC playing poker.
Yeah,
that has 167,000 views.
Holy shit, that's crazy. So you're still DeviantArt is still a viable thing for you, then, right?
Well, it's still up, but that site really fell to shit. Like it became a ghost town. So I'll put up pieces every now and then, or like from some of my campaigns. But like I'm done posting up kind of pieces from mainstream in there because they just get jacked, they get lifted. I have a Pennywise that currently is all over the place. People making T-shirts, selling pins, and all this other shit. Because I've had friends contact me, did you give approval on this? I'm like, no. They try to find out, and it's like some kind of Russian bot or something. How it spreads like wildfire.
Right.
They removed the watermarks. That's why I have some very obnoxious watermarks on all over DeviantArt.
Yeah, I started doing that too. I have one I'm gonna share with you. Let's see if I can do this real quick since we're going off. If you can find that Supergirl, I want to see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this right here, this thing, I've seen it for T-shirts. They've made shower curtains. Like,
oh, dude, yeah.
This thing has been ripped off so many times. And the thing about like Etsy or whoever's making, like manufacturing these things, they get busted and then they go away for about 6 months or seemingly go away. And then they just come back.
They do. They come up with a different name or something, and they sell a bunch of different artwork. But the thing now with Etsy, you have to be very specific. Like you have to have the copyright number, it looks like, to go after them. And if you're not the copyright holder, like you can't really do anything.
Yeah, they don't even change it up. It's like the same shower curtain, the same artwork, the same everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I have permission from DC to do this. Mm-hmm. It was part of my contract that I could do licensed stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess they can rip. I don't know. Because you can't copyright a piece of artwork, right? If it's owned by somebody, even if it's owned by yourself, you can't really copyright a pose or anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. They know that too, right? So either the hacks or the thieves, that's just how they are. They don't care. They're getting paid the big check, or if they're making the t-shirts and all that crap, they don't really care.
Yeah. Is this the
That's the DC piece. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but that's been everywhere.
Wait, what happened? This should work. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was pretty famous. Again, this is the one that has 160,000 views on it. This is the Supergirl piece that he jacked.
I have seen that before.
Yeah. And he did something different with the legs, but other than that, it's a mirror image of this particular piece. I'm like, yeah, dude. I called him out. I did a side-by-side, and fans and people attacked him all over the place too.
Is there any way you can find his? This would be fun.
Oh, dude, if you look it up, I don't know.
Yeah, somebody will do that. Yeah.
Nobody bought those stupid books to begin with. This was a couple of years ago. Like, if it was like the other day, I would. Yeah, it's on my Instagram. It's here or there, but I'm not keeping that crap around in front of my face because it's just more reminders of how shitty this industry is. People wanted me to do that too. I don't know. Maybe one day I will. I'll take all these big names who ripped me off and I'll fucking expose them all.
I just can't believe he did it. Like, that seems, because that guy can draw.
Well, that guy also ripped off of Adam Hughes' style, but then he can't draw fingers, so they always look like Muppet hands.
He can't draw fingers.
No, he can't. They all look like Muppet fingers. They have like no bone structure. Take a good look next time you look at his shit.
Yeah, it is definitely a derivative of Adam Hughes. That's
it's a watered down version for sure. This is another one.
I think people in chat are starting to like the angry Vinnie.
Yeah, when people work me up, I notice I do get I get a lot more views and stuff, but it's a lifetime of this kind of shit, right? And that's the purpose of why we're doing what we're doing. We're telling our own stories. Fuck all of them. Because I don't have to be as nice because they were never nice to me, right?
Right.
There's been a handful that have been cool, and I'm fine with saying nice things about them. Like Capullo was always cool to me. Todd was cool working for him. Even afterwards, I ran into him a couple times. Yeah, I don't think they would go out of their way to really help people that are coming from Comicsgate, though. That's the sad side of it, huh?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, again, because they're working for those companies, and then if they have their own political views and whatever, it's nonsense or make believe that they've heard. Who knows what they believe? So, like, I never even approached them because it's kind of pointless at this point.
Yeah, you don't want to have that awkward conversation or for them to have to like judge you.
Yeah,
I can't because you're one of them.
Yeah. This was another really popular one. 106,000 views on this one.
It's a little hot and heavy there.
And here is the Mike S. Miller that he ripped me off.
Mike would not rip you off,
dude. It was during the auction where it was exposed, and Malin goes, "Let me see the piece," because he had done this drawing that I put this promo up because it was like, when he was doing his competitions of draw Batman and +1. So I put up a bunch of Batman artwork to help them like with the promo on it, and I thought I was going to be on, right? And I didn't get on, but they said, "Well, you can come on the auction." So I came on the auction, and I saw that Mike had done almost this exact pose, right? And he changed her positioning of her upper torso, so it's more like you see both breasts, like it was like that kind of an angle. But anyway, when I had mentioned, he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I inspired that piece, right? The one that you're trying to sell." He goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." So then Malin goes, ho, wait a minute, Mike, did you do it again? And at that point, I didn't even know Mike was doing that kind of thing. So Malin goes, "Can I see that?" And Kyung pulled it up, and I pulled it up at the same time. And John Malin goes, "Mike, you should have just wrote Vinnie Tartamella on your piece. You ripped them off."
So was it Poison Ivy and Batman in like a similar position?
Yeah. he just moved her upper torso a little bit, like, you know,
Like his hands kind of like moving up his chest, the same type idea.
The whole concept, the whole idea was all mine, and he didn't want to fess up to it. And his face was getting all red because he was getting embarrassed. And Malin just kept poking fun at him and laughing at him.
Yeah. Hey, Sticky Wicked wants those shower curtains that I was talking about earlier. Well, I'm sure if you check around on Etsy, they're there somewhere.
They probably are.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Oh, man. Swipers. We should do a swipers show.
We should.
On swiping.
We should do one like that and just exposing other horrible artists. I could be mean. I could be mean if I want to be.
That would be depressing. But it could be funny, though. It could be funny for the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. If people want real original stuff, buy Chrono Mechanics, but keep back in City of Venus. This is still going out. If you order it, I mail it pretty much same day. I've been getting a bunch more sales on this recently as well, so a nice little bump. And yeah, Through the Woods, we're working our asses off on that one. We're gonna get the I'm very confident we're gonna be getting the oversized edition on top of being hardcover. But as of right now, we have hardcover on this.
So there you go.
You want.
Yeah, go check it out. Man, if you guys have the $200, back that sketch, that drawing. It's not even a sketch; it's a freaking drawing. That's going to be. It's going to be on the back of the front inside cover. Is that right?
Or the inside front cover. So as soon as you open the book.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting my sample. It's coming, so I gotta just double check that it's all good. But that's pretty much what I want to do. That's where I want to put it.
Wait, what? I'm selling shower curtains with Art's face on them? No, you're not. And if you are, I would love to see that, man. That would be awesome. This little drawing that you see of myself on a freaking. Oh my God. That'd be weird.
I'll be honest. The first time I saw that, I thought it was an asser.
Oh really? Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know you were part of this. So the first time I saw it, I'm like, NASA got a new ID there, a new logo, and then I started blowing up, and I went, oh, that's not him.
I am much better looking than Nasser.
Yes, you are.
I can see the similarities though, but I don't think that kid can grow a beard.
No, he can't. That's why I was kind of thrown off by it.
Yeah, I do have the big eyebrows, but like all caricatures, you got to over exaggerate. So. They're not quite that big.
I didn't mean to insult you at all. You're definitely a handsome man. Compared to that kid, you definitely are.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, man. So let's start wrapping this up. Do you have a parting shot, Vinny?
A parting shot?
Yeah, like buy my book, you sons of bitches.
You know what? We could do one better. It's like, what is it? Like 15 seconds or whatnot. We could show the Kelsey Shannon video.
Oh, cool. You got that?
Yeah. It's on the campaign. So I'll show that. Ready for it?
Wait for it.
Oh, wait.
No, I see it.
Back Through the Woods today on Indiegogo.
I still think that's the best.
Wait a minute, that's the main video when you go to the site?
It's one of the main videos.
Today on Indiegogo.
I can't stop looking at her booty.
The main video, this one was done by Red Gaze. This has the whole story in it, so if you do want to see it, I think it's like 2 minutes.
Sure, yeah, let's play it.
Pull that up.
From Frankie and Vinnie Tartamella comes Through the Woods, the collected edition. This edition compiles the 3-issue miniseries into one solid volume for fans of Through the Woods and newcomers alike. Written by Frankie Tardamella and fully illustrated and assembled by Vinnie Tardamella, Through the Woods is an esoteric ghost story that will leave you haunted yet fulfilled.
That bear.
Investigative reporter Laura Langley as she unearths the tragic history of her newly inherited home and cabin in North Hudson, New York. This is a tale that started 100 years earlier when this very land was a loggers' camp in the early 1900s. Laura's investigation finds her learning of her family's past and accidentally reawakens a restless spirit. Find out what else is haunting the pages of this completed series. If you missed the first campaign, this is the perfect chance to get your hands on this epic ghost story. This is the fable of an investigative journalist caught in the middle of a ghost story. A tale that started 100 years ago. Don't miss this second chance to take a midnight stroll through the woods.
Yes.
Right? Man, every time I see it, I'm like, if I wasn't part of this campaign, I'd back it.
I'd back that book.
It looks so good.
It's so good. Yeah. So definitely go check out Vinnie's Through the Woods. It's still what's going in the second week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just starting the second week now, right?
Yeah, we definitely are. So the first week brought in, over 10K. Amazing stuff. So at 12, this book is going to get upgraded to the larger size. Let me go back down if my mouse will work with me. Yeah. So like you can see the difference of what it would kind of be next to a traditional paperback.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is a must.
This is a must-have for everybody. Definitely. And you guys, please check out Chrono Mechanics. We are in demand right now, and we are going to put together some new stretch goals. It's probably going to be foil enhancements is probably where we're going to go with that. But my wife and I are still talking. And thanks for all the backers. Thanks for all the support on Chrono. And Vinnie, it was good as always talking to you, and continued success on Through the Woods, my friend.
Likewise, Art. Man, you're the best.
Yeah, you are too, man. Hey, thanks, guys. Have a great night, and see you soon.
Good night, everyone.